Every day, people chase success, money, fame, or validation, thinking one day I'll be happy. But that one day never comes because happiness isn't a destination, it's a daily decision. Happiness is not in the future, not in achievements, not in someone else's approval, it's in the small choices you make today. And when you learn to be happy every day, not just when things go your way, that's when life truly begins to feel beautiful. That's what most people unknowingly do every single day. We tell ourselves, once I get that job, I'll be happy. Once I buy that car, I'll be happy. Once I find the right person, I'll be happy. And the funny thing is, even when we finally get those things, we quickly move the goalpost again. Happiness keeps running further away because we keep attaching it to something that hasn't happened yet. It's like telling the sun, I'll enjoy your warmth only when the sky looks perfect. But the sun is shining now. You just have to feel it. You see, happiness is not a reward you receive after you've done everything right. It's not something you earn when life finally behaves. It's something you allow yourself to feel. Today, in this moment, as things are, think about it. There will always be problems. There will always be people who don't understand you, plans that don't go perfectly, dreams that take longer than you expected. If you keep waiting for the day when everything is perfect, you'll spend your entire life in emotional debt, waiting for a happiness that never arrives. When you postpone happiness, you give away your power. You say, I can only feel good when life gives me permission. But life doesn't always cooperate, does it? Some days it rains. Some days it hurts. Some days you feel lost. But even on those days, you can smile. Not because everything is fine, but because you have decided not to let circumstances control your peace. It's a choice, not a condition. You don't have to have everything figured out to be happy. You just have to look at what's already working in your life and say, this is enough for now. The secret is not to find happiness at the end of the journey, but to carry it with you along the way. Because if you can't be happy on the way there, you'll never be happy when you get there. So stop postponing happiness until someday. Start choosing it every day. Smile, not because life is perfect, but because you are learning to live perfectly within it. That's where true happiness begins. The very first thought you have when you open your eyes sets the emotional tone for your entire day. Most people, without realizing it, start their mornings in complaint. They wake up and immediately think, "Ugh, another day," or "I have so much to do," or "Why is my life still not where I want it to be?" And then they carry that heaviness through the rest of the day, as if life owes them something. But the moment you replace complaint with gratitude, everything shifts. When you wake up and your first thought is, "Thank you," not to anyone specific, but just a quiet acknowledgement of the blessing of being alive, your heart softens, your mind clears, and your entire energy changes. You start to notice how much you already have instead of obsessing over what's missing. Think about it. Someone, somewhere prayed last night for what you already have today. The bed you slept on, the roof over your head, the food on your plate, the people who care for you, even the air you're breathing. These are things we stop noticing until they're gone. Gratitude brings them back into focus. It's not about ignoring your problems. It's about not letting them blind you to your blessings. Because if you can't appreciate the small things, you'll never feel fulfilled when the big things arrive. Gratitude doesn't just make you happy, It trains your mind to find happiness in everything. Start your day differently. Before you touch your phone, before you check your messages, just sit for a moment and say to yourself, I'm grateful. Grateful for this new day, for this breath, for another chance to live, to grow, to love, to try again. You'll notice something magical. The world starts responding differently to you. Problems still come, but they don't hit as hard. Challenges still appear, but you face them with calmness. Gratitude gives you emotional armor, not to escape difficulties, but to walk through them with grace. It's easy to be grateful when life is going well, but the real strength lies in finding gratitude, even when it's not. When you can say, thank you, even in pain, even in confusion, even in waiting, that's when your spirit becomes unshakable. Because gratitude doesn't change what you see, it changes how you see. And when you start your morning with a heart full of thanks, you don't just have a good day, you create one. It sounds simple, but this one habit quietly steals more happiness than almost anything else in life. We live in a world where comparison is constant. It's in our phones, our conversations, even in our thoughts. You open social media and within seconds, you see someone who seems happier, richer, more beautiful, more successful, more loved. And before you even realize it, your peaceful mind becomes a battlefield of why not me? And when will it be my turn? Comparison is dangerous because it looks harmless. It disguises itself as motivation, but it slowly poisons your joy. You start measuring your worth with someone else's ruler, forgetting that every person is running a completely different race. Someone might be ahead of you in one chapter, but behind you in another. Someone might be celebrating their victory today, but you don't know how many nights they cried to reach there. You see the highlight, not the hard work. You see the success, not the sacrifices. The truth is, no two lives can be compared. You are a unique story written by a unique hand. Your timing, your lessons, your blessings, all are beautifully personal. When you compare, you insult your own journey by wishing it looked like someone else's. And the irony is, the person you're comparing yourself to might be looking at you, feeling the same envy, wishing they had your calmness, your simplicity, your resilience. So, what's the solution? Detach, not from people, but from the urge to measure yourself against them. When you scroll through someone's success, appreciate it without judgment. Say, good for them. And then remind yourself, my time will come. When a friend shares good news, celebrate it with a full heart. The more you learn to be genuinely happy for others, the lighter your soul becomes. Remember, a flower never competes with the one next to it. It just blooms. The sun doesn't worry if the moon is shining brighter. It knows when it's its turn to glow. Life works the same way. There's enough space for everyone to shine. Your progress doesn't have to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. Comparison keeps you stuck in scarcity. Gratitude moves you into abundance. Every time you feel that little sting of envy, take it as a reminder to refocus on your own path. Ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? That's the only comparison that ever matters. When you detach from comparison, you reclaim your peace. You stop living for applause and start living with purpose. You begin to see that happiness isn't in being better than others. It's in being better within yourself. So let them run their race. Let them have their moment. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply becoming. It sounds simple, but this one habit quietly steals more happiness than almost anything else in life. We live in a world where comparison is constant. It's in our phones, our conversations, even in our thoughts. You open social media, and within seconds, you see someone who seems happier, richer, more beautiful, more successful, more loved. And before you even realize it, your peaceful mind becomes a battlefield of why not me? And when will it be my turn? Comparison is dangerous because it looks harmless. It disguises itself as motivation, but it slowly poisons your joy. You start measuring your worth with someone else's ruler, forgetting that every person is running a completely different race. Someone might be ahead of you in one chapter, but behind you in another. Someone might be celebrating their victory today, but you don't know how many nights they cried to reach there. You see the highlight, not the hard work. You see the success, not the sacrifices. The truth is, no two lives can be compared. You are a unique story written by a unique hand. Your timing, your lessons, your blessings, all are beautifully personal. When you compare, you insult your own journey by wishing it looked like someone else's. And the irony is, the person you're comparing yourself to might be looking at you, feeling the same envy, wishing they had your calmness, your simplicity, your resilience. So, what's the solution? Detach, not from people, but from the urge to measure yourself against them. When you scroll through someone's success, appreciate it without judgment. Say, good for them. And then remind yourself, my time will come. When a friend shares good news, celebrate it with a full heart. The more you learn to be genuinely happy for others, the lighter your soul becomes. Remember, a flower never competes with the one next to it. It just blooms. The sun doesn't worry if the moon is shining brighter. It knows when it's its turn to glow. Life works the same way. There's enough space for everyone to shine. Your progress doesn't have to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. Comparison keeps you stuck in scarcity. Gratitude moves you into abundance. Every time you feel that little sting of envy, take it as a reminder to refocus on your own path. Ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? That's the only comparison that ever matters. When you detach from comparison, you reclaim your peace. You stop living for applause and start living with purpose. You begin to see that happiness isn't in being better than others. It's in being better within yourself. So let them run their race. Let them have their moment. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply becoming. That's where the real magic of happiness lies. We live in a world that constantly teaches us to ask, what can I get? More success, more likes, more comfort, more recognition. But very few ask, what can I give? And yet, those who do live the richest lives of all. Because happiness, my friends, doesn't grow when you chase it for yourself. It multiplies when you share it with others. Have you noticed? The moments that touch your heart the most are never the ones where you received something, but the ones where you gave something. Maybe you helped a stranger, comforted a friend, or simply listened to someone who needed to be heard. And afterward, you felt something pure, something peaceful, that quiet sense of, this is what life is meant for. That feeling is not coincidence. That is the human soul recognizing its purpose. You see, when you focus only on seeking approval, seeking attention, seeking rewards, you live in constant hunger. You always need more. You start to measure your worth by what you collect. But when you start serving, when your heart beats for others, the hunger disappears. You no longer chase happiness, it flows through you. Because service connects you to something bigger than yourself. The happiest people are not the ones who have everything, they are the ones who give even when they don't have much. There's a story of a poor man who had only one piece of bread. Instead of keeping it for himself, he shared half with another hungry man. That night, he slept with an empty stomach but a full heart. That's the paradox of giving. When you give to others, you never lose, you grow. Service doesn't always mean charity or money. Sometimes it's just kindness, a smile, a helping hand, a word of encouragement. Even listening without judgment can be an act of service. Every small gesture carries energy. And when that energy is pure, it always returns to you in some form or another. There's a reason why those who live for others radiate peace. Their joy doesn't depend on what's happening around them, but on what's flowing from them. You'll notice this. The more self-centered your world becomes, the heavier your heart feels. But the moment you do something selfless, even a small act, you feel light again. Because the heart wasn't made to just take. It was made to give. Think about it. The sun doesn't ask for applause before it shines. The river doesn't expect gratitude before it flows. Nature's greatest forces give endlessly, and that's why they never run dry. The same applies to us. When we learn to live in service, when we ask, how can I make someone's day better today? Life starts giving us back in unexpected, beautiful ways. Happiness isn't hiding in achievements or possessions. It's hiding in contribution. Every time you make someone else smile, a part of your own heart heals. Every time you lift someone up, you rise a little higher yourself. So don't just seek happiness, serve it. Be the reason someone believes kindness still exists. Be the warmth someone feels after a cold day. Because when your life becomes about giving, your heart will never feel empty again. These 4 words can heal a lifetime of pain, yet they're the hardest to live by. Every one of us has been hurt, disappointed, or betrayed by someone we trusted. Maybe it was a friend who lied, a loved one who walked away, or a stranger who broke your faith in people. The natural reaction is to hold on, to replay the moment, to question why it happened, to carry the bitterness as if it protects us. But the truth is, holding on doesn't protect you, it poisons you. When you refuse to forgive, the wound doesn't close, it festers. You carry the person who hurt you everywhere you go. You smile on the outside, but inside, that anger burns quietly, draining your peace, your energy, your joy. The irony is, while you're busy hating them, they've probably moved on. You become the prisoner while they walk free. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about saying, I will no longer let what you did continue to hurt me. You see, forgiveness is not weakness. It's strength of the highest kind. Anyone can hold a grudge, that's easy. But to forgive, to look at your pain and choose peace over revenge, that takes a heart that is truly strong. It takes a soul that refuses to let bitterness win. Because anger and resentment might feel powerful at first, but they slowly destroy you from within. Think of your heart as a garden. Every time you hold on to anger, you plant a thorn that pierces you again and again. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is the act of pulling those thorns out, not for them, but for you. It's choosing to stop bleeding for someone who isn't even holding the knife anymore. People often say, I can't forgive, it's too hard. But what's harder? Carrying the weight of hate for years, or letting it go and finally breathing again. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The only person you end up harming is yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. It means learning the lesson without reliving the story. It means you finally stop giving your past the power to control your present. When you forgive, you reclaim your strength. You take back your peace. You open your heart again, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Sometimes, the person you need to forgive isn't someone else, it's you. We often carry guilt for the mistakes we made, the people we hurt, the chances we missed. But you cannot grow if you keep punishing yourself for who you used to be. You did the best you could with what you knew at that time. Forgive yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. You deserve the same compassion you give to others. Forgiveness is not an event, it's a process. You might have to do it again and again every time the memory returns. But each time you choose peace over pain, your heart becomes lighter. Slowly the wound heals. Slowly the past loses its grip. Slowly you start living again. And that's when you realize forgiveness was never about them. It was about you setting yourself free. Because peace doesn't come when others apologize. It comes when you decide to stop suffering. So forgive. Let go. Not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve your freedom. In a world that never stops moving, this might be the hardest advice to follow. Everywhere you look, people are rushing to work, rushing to achieve, rushing to prove their worth. The world glorifies speed. It celebrates the hustle. It tells you that if you're not constantly moving, you're falling behind. But here's the truth. You're not behind, you're alive. And being alive isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Most people are not tired because they're doing too much. They're tired because they're doing too much without presence. They're living life like it's a to-do list, ticking boxes, meeting deadlines, chasing goals, yet forgetting to live between those lines. You wake up, check your phone, rush through breakfast, scroll through comparison, stress through the day, and fall asleep wondering why you feel so empty. You're breathing, but not really alive. When was the last time you simply stopped, just sat silently, closed your eyes, and felt your breath, the air moving in and out? That one small act, that simple moment, is enough to remind you peace is not somewhere out there, waiting to be found. It's right here, inside you. But to feel it, you have to slow down. Life isn't meant to be a blur. The beauty of life hides in the moments we rush past. The sound of rain, the smile of a stranger, the warmth of your tea, the stillness of dawn. We miss all of that because we're too busy chasing what's next. The mind says, go faster. But the soul whispers, slow down, you're missing the view. When you slow down, you start to see things clearly. You realize that not everything needs to be done immediately. Not every problem needs to be solved right now. Some things heal with time, some answers come with silence, and some peace is found only in stillness. The more you push, the more resistance life gives you. But when you breathe, when you release control, everything starts flowing naturally again. The breath is your anchor. It's your reminder that the present moment is all you truly have. You can't breathe yesterday's air, and you can't inhale tomorrow's. You only have this breath. And in this breath, you can choose peace, you can choose calm, you can choose to be here. Sometimes, slowing down feels uncomfortable because the silence reveals everything we've been avoiding. The unprocessed emotions, the buried thoughts, the hidden pain. But that's exactly why you need to slow down, because healing only begins when you stop running from yourself. There's nothing noble about burnout. You don't prove your worth by exhausting your body. and draining your soul. You prove your worth by honoring your limits, by listening to your body when it says, rest. Rest isn't laziness, it's maintenance. Even the most powerful machines shut down to recharge. Why do you think you should be any different? When you slow down, your relationships deepen too. You start listening, really listening, not just hearing to reply. You begin to notice the people you love, not just exist around them. You start finding joy in little things, the things that were always there, waiting for you to notice. Slowing down doesn't mean stopping your dreams. It means walking toward them with awareness. Because life isn't about how fast you get there. It's about how present you are on the way. The most peaceful people are not the ones who have less to do, but the ones who have learned to move calmly, even through chaos. So today, pause, breathe, feel your heartbeat. Look around, you're here, you're alive. That's enough. You don't have to rush to catch life. Life is already happening. You just have to slow down and breathe it in. This one simple shift can completely transform your peace, your relationships, and your inner strength. Every day, life gives us countless moments that test our patience. A rude comment, an unexpected setback, a disappointing outcome, or someone who simply misunderstands us. And in those moments, we're faced with a choice. Do we react instantly out of emotion, or do we respond calmly out of awareness? The difference between the two may seem small, but it defines the entire quality of your life. Most people live in reaction mode. Something happens, they get angry. Someone says something, they get offended. Plans change, they panic. They let the world pull invisible strings, and they dance to every external trigger. But those who master themselves, who learn to respond instead of react, become unshakable. They're not cold, they're conscious. They don't let the chaos around them decide the calm within them. When you react, you give away your power. You let others control your emotions. But when you respond, you reclaim it. You decide how you want to feel, how you want to behave, and what energy you want to bring into that moment. That's what emotional intelligence really is. Not suppressing your feelings, but directing them wisely. Think of your mind as a lake. When someone throws a stone into it, the surface ripples. If you immediately react, those ripples turn into waves that disturb your clarity. But if you stay still, the ripples fade, and soon you can see your reflection again. Silence and patience are the bridges between reaction and response. People often believe reacting quickly makes them strong. But strength isn't about how loud you can shout or how fast you can reply. True strength is remaining kind in an unkind situation. It's being able to pause when every part of you wants to explode. It's the art of holding your peace, even when someone else tries to steal it. You see, reaction is instinct, it's automatic, but response is awareness, it's chosen. Animals react, humans are meant to respond. Every time you pause before replying, every time you breathe before judging, you evolve a little more. You become the master of your emotions, not their slave. Imagine someone insults you. If you react with anger, you've let them control your mood. But if you respond with calm, you've shown that your peace is not for sale. In that moment, you rise above the situation instead of sinking into it. Sometimes, silence itself becomes the most powerful response. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've realized that not every battle deserves your energy. Learning to respond doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means understanding them before expressing them. It means asking yourself, what outcome do I really want? Will my reaction heal or harm? Most of the time, When we act from impulse, we regret it later. But when we act from awareness, even our silence carries wisdom. This is something spiritual teachers, psychologists, and thinkers all agree on. The pause between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. That small moment, that breath, that second of reflection, it's where peace begins. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Start small. When someone irritates you, breathe instead of bursting. When plans go wrong, observe instead of complaining. When someone criticizes you, listen, not to agree, but to understand. Every pause strengthens your inner calm. Every act of restraint builds your emotional muscle. Because the truth is, reacting might make you feel powerful for a moment, but responding makes you powerful forever. The person who can't control their emotions will always be controlled by others. But the one who can stay grounded in chaos becomes unstoppable. So, next time life throws its tests your way, don't rush to react. Smile softly, take a deep breath, respond with intention, not impulse. That's where true maturity begins. When you stop being driven by emotion and start being guided by wisdom. It sounds simple, but look around. The world has forgotten this truth. Everywhere you see people chasing things, cars, phones, brands, houses, status symbols, as if they define who we are. We live in a time where relationships are becoming temporary and objects are becoming permanent. We polish our screens more than our souls, and we check our messages more than we check on people. We've mistaken the glitter for gold. But deep down, we all know this. The most expensive possessions can't fill the simplest emptiness of the heart. You can sleep on the softest bed and still feel restless. You can wear luxury and still feel unloved. You can collect everything this world has to offer and still feel something missing. And that something is connection. There's a story of a man who spent his entire life building wealth, chasing status, collecting everything he ever wanted. But when he fell sick and lay on his hospital bed, surrounded by machines and money, he realized none of it could hold his hand, none of it could wipe his tears, none of it could love him back. At that moment, he understood what so many learn too late. Possessions can't comfort you, people can. We buy things to impress people who aren't even looking. We upgrade our gadgets, but downgrade our conversations. We invest in things that depreciate, but neglect the relationships that give our lives meaning. Happiness doesn't come from what's in your pocket, it comes from who's standing beside you. The moments that truly warm your heart, laughter with friends, a parent's hug, a deep conversation, a shared silence, those can't be bought, they're built, they're felt, they're lived. You see, things are meant to be used and people are meant to be loved. But somewhere along the way, we've reversed it. We use people to get things and love things so much that we lose people. We think success means accumulation, but true success means connection, the ability to love deeply and you loved in return. When you value people, life slows down. You start listening more, caring more, giving more. You start seeing relationships not as transactions, but as treasures. You begin to understand that no amount of money can replace a genuine heart. You start appreciating presence over presence. And suddenly, you realize how rich you actually are, not in possessions, but in people who make your world feel alive. Think about it. One genuine friend is worth more than 1,000 followers. One heartfelt conversation is worth more than hundreds of likes. One act of love lasts longer than any material possession because things fade. People remember. Things break, people heal. When we lose someone we love, we don't cry over the gifts they gave us. We cry over the moments we didn't get to share. We realize too late that time was the real currency and love was the real wealth. So while you have people around you, value them. Don't just text them, talk to them. Don't just react to their stories, ask about their hearts. Don't just show up at their celebrations, stand by them in their storms. Possessions can make life comfortable, yes, but only people can make life meaningful. The most peaceful homes are not the biggest ones. They're the ones filled with laughter, forgiveness, and love. The happiest people aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones with the most compassion. So take a moment today to remind yourself, the car will rust, the phone will be replaced, the house will one day belong to someone else. But the people you love, the moments you share, the kindness you give, those are eternal. Don't let life trick you into chasing things you can lose and ignoring people you can't replace. Because when your final day comes, it won't be the value of your possessions that defines your life, it will be the depth of your connections.